Yeah, I am Stephanie, or Seph, and I am one of the founders at Paper Cutter Games. And I'm joined here today by my wonderful co-founder!
Yes, I'm Val. I'm the artist or lead artist, and together we have our game studio, Paper Cutter Games. Hooray!
Yeah! So if you're not super familiar with the current happenings of our studio, of course you can check out our website at any time, peek around our Discord community, and that's the best way to learn a bit more of all the cool stuff that we're doing. And of course on this YouTube channel. This live Q&A event is one of those cool things. Yeah, so we're gonna dive into it. We have a handful of questions from, some of our supporters and people interested in the projects that we're working on, and also some that we've, thrown together ourselves or from other members on our team. So let me see what we are going to start with first. Yeah, which one? What draws you to work in game dev rather than in other industries?
For me personally, it's more of a creative industry, and there's a lot of impact you can have because people play games to have fun for entertainment. So it's something that they want to do. So if you can provide something for people that they want to do and also pass along a good message or inform people of complex issues, which is what our studio is all about, then all the better, because no one wants to do that and feel lectured at or have a not fun time doing that. What about you?
Yeah, I totally get that. I think definitely a large part of it for me is the different form of escapism that video games provide. I mean, always wanted to work with like writing for, novels and such like that. But with video games, you get to explore a little something with more player agency, of course, rather than simply reading, which I mean can be an active activity for the reader, but not to the same extent. So like having a way to, a lot of what Val said actually is like having a fun way to explore some really interesting and complex themes. That is certainly like part of it. Also, just period, games are fun.
Games are fun, games are engaging. I like to do it. Yeah, that's the simple of it.
Yeah, sweet. All right, let's think of the next question here. Yeah, how about Val, you pick the next one?
Sure, what do we got? What are some of your favorite indie games?
Definitely Undertale. I think that would probably be one of the top ones that I can at least think of off the top of my head. Yeah, we'll just, rather than me trying to think too hard about it, especially because sometimes it's tricky to really understand what classifies as an indie game because the term can be kind of broadly used these days. So yeah, I'll say Undertale. It was very like unique and innovative. I love that fusion of gameplay genres of like RPG meets bullet hell. Like what? But also the story was really good, and I appreciate the type of kind of like plot twists that they had, and like, even silly characters had some really interesting character design to them. They all had their backstories and a lot of stuff that wasn't being said to the player directly. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. What about you, Val?
I also liked Undertale because it was just very, very different from anything else I had seen. I also have a bias toward games that are just funny or quirky or amusing, like Ooblets, which is very cute, but also developed its own verbal jargon that's quite endearing. Um, and other indie games. I just finished Unpacking, which had a good
Mm.
story. It's very sentimental, extremely sentimental, and it was just dragging objects from one place to another, an organization game, but it was still very heartfelt due to the storyline. Um, and all the little details included, and I really appreciate that when a game has nice little details and its own charm, its own unique charm to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good point about charm. Like, you don't really talk about something being charming when it's made by a AAA studio, which is interesting. Like, where does the charm come from? How do you strike the right balance of like, I don't know, trying to make like how do you make something that you really enjoy and that you're trying hard to still make it like marketable or successful but still keep the charm?
Yeah,
Or like how do
there's
you know if it's charming? Like personally it's hard to be like, oh yes, this thing I've created is definitely charming. I think usually it's other people who view it and they're like, oh, that's so charming. I don't know.
if something is charming or endearing, it's most felt the first time you experience it. So if you're working on it and creating it yourself and you're like going over it more iterations every day, day in, day out, you can kind of lose, I think you can kind of lose focus on, is this good or do I just think it's good? So it can be a difficult balance between um, is this charming, whimsical, endearing, or is this just what I think other people would like, and does it come off kind of fakeish, which is
Mm,
a problem, of course.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think as long as you're doing what you want to do and you're like enjoying it and you're having an enjoyable experience making it, and then with people that are also enjoying making it with you, there's a higher chance of other people would enjoy playing it. Like, I'm sure that the creator of Undertale very much enjoyed doing the dialogue, especially for Papyrus, who is a very comedic character. And I'm sure when most people see Papyrus, they're like, who is this guy? What is he doing? What is he on about? What? Ridiculous, which is its own charm in itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. So here's a pretty like one that was given to us from one of our patrons. I think this is a pretty common question for, people working in game dev. So might as well like touch on it. What advice would you give to someone that wanted to get into the game industry?
Gosh, what a difficult question for any industry, right?
Yeah, especially because it's a bit vague.
Yeah. I think just the most important thing is try and know as much as possible. Like, it sounds weird to say, but try and know what you're doing. So in the case of the game dev industry, maybe watch as many GDC game development conference videos as possible, the ones that you're interested in, the ones that will help develop skills or introduce you to skills that are related to your field of interest, whether it's like the art or the narrative or the programming or the marketing or anything like that, and just try and immerse yourself as much as possible in that world so that you feel more comfortable participating in it and then becoming a part of it, of course.
I like that answer. I think that's a great, like a really great approach. I really like what you said about like understanding the sphere that you're looking at entering and feeling comfortable with like entering it. I like that. Yeah, I think what advice would I give to someone? I think it really is difficult to give generic advice as opposed to like position specific advice for sure. But what you said was actually really good. I think
Thanks.
yeah, I think that's great advice. Like just dig into more like industry stuff and actually just hear people's stories about it. I think maybe if you've already done that and you're kind of like, yeah, I do want to enter the industry, I would probably say like think about what aspect of game development quite gets you excited and also what aspect has transferable skills. So I say this because or at least like think about where your skills could be transferable. When you're first entering, I don't believe it would be a great idea to niche down super hard and try and be like, yeah, I'm super interested in this very particular narrow scope of things. Like, let's say a very specific type of rigging, like for animations, or a very specific type of animation style. Like, it can be very hard to, I mean, especially if you're just entering, you're not going to find such a specific position without the experience beforehand. So yeah, just trying to find that intersection between something that really engages you so that you're excited about it and you enjoy it, and also something that your skills that you're developing can be applied to some sort of a broad aspect of game development or even outside of game development should you change your mind later on. I mean, of course, most skills that you gain could be transferable in some way or the other, but because the industry is quite competitive, and because indie dev, if you want to go the indie dev route, because that's pretty brutal, I think thinking about that is good. Like a type of grounding, I guess, mental exercise, understanding like what direction you want to take. I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like try all the things, as many things as you possibly can, because you can't really know if you'll like something if you've never tried it, or conversely, hate something if you've never tried it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also because there's so many different aspects of game dev, you might later find something that you like even more than what you think you currently like. Yeah, and I mean, I know it's hard to try everything because of time, but the more you can kind of dabble in or explore before trying to commit to a single avenue, I think the better. Also gives you a really good general understanding of the different types of people you'll be working with, like across a team, and that's pretty valuable.
Yeah, even if you're not directly working or experiencing learning about a thing, if someone right beside you is doing that, you could kind of get some secondhand experience, secondhand advice, and just say, oh, they seem to be having a really hard time or really enjoying this one aspect. That can inform my decisions in the future. And, just kind of let the conversation flow between you and others, and then everyone can learn together. Yay!
Yeah. All right. Okay, Val, another question for you.
Okay.
I mean, for you to find for me.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I blanked. I don't know. We talked about what is good to learn, like the advice to go learn game dev. What's like the worst career advice you've ever received?
Specific to game dev or just
No, just
in
career in general. It's fine.
Probably stuff along the lines of like go to school.
Yeah.
Go to school. You have to go to school to get a job. Which isn't...
Thanks for stealing my answer.
I mean, obviously I get that for some careers, yes. Like, absolutely. And I don't regret having gone to school per se, but it does suck to know how much money I dropped on that and how much I'm not using that specific degree, like directly using it. Okay, I don't mean like the knowledge and stuff is still useful, of course, and it informs a chunk of what we do with like paper cutter games and exploring mental health. But I mean, I'm not directly training to be a psychologist or or a neuroscientist, so yeah, I think less pressure. And I mean, I guess it's not advice, maybe it's not bad advice, but bad pressure of like to definitely go to university and drop tens of thousands of dollars when you're in a country that doesn't have free tuition. Like, there's other ways to like get into industries aside from, I mean, of course, depends on the industry and what you need to do, but like for game dev, education means nothing.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree. Like, I don't know how many times I was told, like, just go to school, get a degree, and then you're set for life. You'll just get a job instantly after you finish your degree, and then you can pay off those loans in just a few years. It's fine, especially now that tuition costs so much more than it used to, and the degrees are worth so much less than they used to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in theory, going to post-secondary education is good because it's like, oh, I get to like, again, we were saying, learn about all these different things, a different variety of things in general, and then start focusing down on what more interests you, like what industry that you want to go into, what part of that industry do you want to go into. But just like as a cost benefit analysis, it's so expensive. So it's an experience, and you can learn and gain things from maybe like a bad experience or not so positive experience, but it's still expensive. And am I a molecular geneticist right now? No. Did I learn anything about art? Did I study art in post-secondary? No. But here we are, although the psychology courses are coming in handy. So, like I said, I never intended to become a psychologist, but that is what is most useful for me right now concerning what I learned in university.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's do I think maybe one more main question, and then we will move on to, I think, the rapid fire round. I think time is going kind of fast. I didn't expect this.
It's because I enjoyed talking with you.
Yeah, like it's already 20 minutes into the actual stream, so that's kind of crazy. Okay, here's one. What do you like best about the Paper Cutter Games community Discord server? Not a plug.
I think, like all good Discord servers, you just enjoy being there. You just enjoy chatting with people and trading stories and anecdotes and just hanging out. But you can also, because it's Paper Cutter Games Discord studio, you can also talk about the studio and the games. And I particularly like that people can just suggest what they would like to see in a game or what they've seen in other games that they wish were expanded upon or developed a bit more. So it's like we're developing a game, but we can also develop it with the community, bounce ideas off of each other. But also, if I don't want to do work after work, I could just talk about my hobbies and see other people's hobbies, which is fun too.
Yeah, totally. yeah, aside from that, I think for me, I really like having the opportunity to chat about the themes of the games. Um, because I mean, partly because it makes my job a little easier as like doing as like lead writer and working on some of those, like answering some of those bigger questions and overarching things. It's just really nice to just ask the community about their initial thoughts on some of the core themes that we're exploring and sort of dig into them with others rather than just being in my own little bubble and trying to work these things out on my own, which of course doesn't really make sense because the themes are supposed to be working, I guess, like for society as a whole. Like the theme itself isn't like an isolated like individual's experience, it's also like a collective thing. um so just like specifically for our current project, which you can, yeah, learn more on our website or check the dev diary, or we have a dev diary series. The first one, I'll probably link the second one as well, is in the video description below, so you can check those out to learn more. But yeah, in the current game we're working on, one of the core themes is eco grief, and it's interesting to think of like what is eco grief for like an individual's experience, but then also what is it in the collective sense. So being able to speak to multiple people about like what do they view eco grief as, like what is it to them, and what are the pain points and the pressure points, and what might fighting against that look like, is yeah, it's just a really unique experience, and I think it's great that we can collaborate so closely with our players. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, me too. It's like building off each other, and when people talk about themselves or their own experiences, it's very informative and new. Like, oh, I never even thought of the possibility of this kind of experience existing for anyone because I myself have not personally experienced it, which is why, you know, diversity is so important. Getting all these different perspectives, because we don't want to make a game that's just for one person or one type of person. We want to make a game that's enjoyable for everyone, or as many people as possible, for people that maybe haven't related too hard to many games. Because if we make a game that's just kind of cookie cutter, standard, it worked for everybody else, like, we're not really creating anything new, which, I mean, you don't always have to do that, but I think for us, we do want to do that. And
also, it's boring. It's like cookie cutter houses. Like, why do we want that all the time? It's like, novelty's also good. It challenges our brain. It's like how we grow is like actually being exposed to new ideas, new thoughts, and something interesting rather than same old, same old.
Yeah, and especially with a theme such as eco grief, like eco, the ecology of the planet. Can I speak for the entirety of the planet? No. I don't want to try to.
You're not a planet?
I mean, what? If I was, I'd be really sick. That'd be bad. Yeah, that's depressing. Sorry. That's also why, like, hey, I could just talk about my hobbies right now, because we can talk about all the things, not just a few things that might be depressing or not. I mean, for the current game we're working on, it has a core theme of eco grief, yes, but we also want to put a lot of hope into it and collective human agency. So even when we do talk about something that might be depressing, we want to talk about how can we display this or talk about this, discuss it in a way that's not completely hopeless. Because again, games are supposed to be fun. Why would you play a game that is not fun, that's not enjoyable? You don't want to do that.
And even like games that do like go very hard into that dark side, it's like there is a time and a place and a mood for each player to actually be in to when they want to engage in that. And so it's like that's its own space. But to be able to like, yeah, like to actually tackle some of those deeper, darker things while at the same time being fun and having that like positive spin to it as well is just something that's not really done. So yeah, I like digging into that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about just superficial things. I mean, superficial can be fun, it's great, but I think it's an interesting balance to strike between talking about something complex and deep, but also having a whimsical fun time, because I play games for fun, and I sometimes play games that are, grim, dark, deep, depressing because, you're in a mood. You feel like it. But sometimes you want to escape from reality, and everyone's reality is different. So if you're just having a bunch of crappy days in a row, probably don't want to play a game that is also not makes you feel like crap, but displays a world that is apocalyptic or less than ideal.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about variety. Yay!
Yeah. All right, let's go into the rapid fire questions then. I'm thinking we'll do 5 each.
Sure.
Okay.
Go back and forth.
Maybe let's just do all for one person and then all for the other person.
Sure. You want to go first?
You mean me asking you, or are you asking me?
That could mean either or, but you can pick either or. Yes.
How about I'll ask you?
Sure.
The pressure's on. Like,
oh boy.
Don't worry about it. What is a good spy code name for you?
Erie May, because it's just my name minus a bunch of letters and plus 1 letter.
Okay.
But you wouldn't know it just by hearing it, which is why it's a good spy name.
Yes. Yeah, I like it.
I thought about it deeply.
Fantastic. I love it. Okay, that's good. All right. What is your favorite type of stationery?
Ones that work. I don't know. Cute bonus, but as long as it works, that's fine.
Okay. All right, fair. Ooh. Would you rather have universal respect or unlimited power?
Oh god. I know that I put this question in the bank vault, but also I thought we were going into more lighthearted stuff. No, this is my fault. Oh. It's fine. I would rather have the unlimited power, because I don't need everyone to think the best of me, but if I have unlimited power, then I could make the change that I want to see happen, which sounds really cheesy, I know, but I don't know how else to say it in a rapid fire context.
That's good. Okay. Well, this is you give a lot of interesting questions at the bottom. Let's see. What dish do you cook best?
Chicken tikka masala.
Okay, last question. Hey, if you could have an extra body part, what would it be? This was also one of yours, I think.
Yeah. Thanks, past Val. If I had extra eyes, I wouldn't have to turn my head to look behind me, and also maybe if I see 2 fields of vision at once, that could do some weird shit to my art, which would be fun. I don't know.
That's an interesting like consequence to having that. Yeah, cool. Yeah. I like it.
I have no idea what it would do to my art, but I would be excited to find out.
Oh, all right. Well, if we have the opportunity to give you extra eyes, we're gonna take it for science.
No commitment. I commit to nothing here. Okay. Shall I ask you a bunch of 5 rapid fire questions now?
Yes.
Okay. Is your bed made right now?
Actually, yes.
Are you some kind of superhuman?
No, but it's made because I had a couple friends pop over for food. And the house is very cat hairy right now.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's make this bed so that you can't see the cat hair.
Describe your style in one word.
Oh, one word is actually really hard. Can I hyphenate?
Well, I'll allow it.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna say, okay, there's actually 2 hyphens.
Okay, all right. I'm feeling generous.
Yeah, okay.
So.
It is called Dark Confused Edge.
So is the edge like curvy and wavy and confused about what it is?
Yeah, I think so. Because yeah, going through closet stuff in the past, having like stripped down a lot of my clothing and aesthetic to be as like travel friendly minimal as possible, but that meant giving up a lot of the styles I used to like a lot, and so my creative expression like tanked. And so now I feel like, wait, I want my creative aesthetic back. I want to like what I look like. So it's trying to like reincorporate pieces, but then some of it is a little bit confused.
When you say I want to like what I look like, wow, that hits hard. I don't remember how many questions I asked. I think it was 3.
2. That was only 2.
Wow, I'm slow. Okay.
It's okay. I ramble.
I mean, we're all getting to know each other, so that's good. What is your go-to pastime?
Oh my god. Right now, I guess probably a mix of petting my cat and as an actual pastime. I guess maybe gaming or exercise, I guess.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, it's a bad answer because I basically gave you 3 things, but I don't have a single go-to. I'm bad at this.
I'm just teasing. At the moment, what is your snack of choice?
Oh, this one I can answer. I can. It's wasabi peas and spicy broad bean snacks, like the Thai ones, because you have both of those in the same bowl, so kind of like about a 50-50 to a 40-50 split. I mean a 40-60 split, with the 60% being more on the broad bean side because the wasabi peas are quite like powerful, right? So yeah, you put both of those in the bowl and then you have a beer, and it's like
nice
a match made in hell. So I love it. Yeah, because it's spicy, but it's super good.
Are the broad beans also wasabi, or what were they?
They're not wasabi, but they have like a bit of a, like, they're salty and I think a tiny bit of a chili spice. But they're like, yeah, broad beans fried. Yeah, I could probably find a picture and send it if you want, because I much recommend it. It's super tasty.
Now I want to try that. I just want snacks all the time. Anyways, last question. Would you rather give up tasty food forever or good music forever?
Ugh. Val, that's the most painful question.
Maybe.
Tasty food or good music? I would probably rather give up maybe good music if I had to.
Wow. I know that means a lot for you because you love music.
Yeah, but I also really love food. So if I gave up tasty food, like, if I knew what I was missing, that would be pretty painful. Whereas I feel like if I'm not listening to music, like, I've gone periods of time of like not really properly listening to music. So I mean, I've survived, I guess.
You can ignore it for a while, but food is every day, so you can't.
Yeah, I think that's like a thing. All right, and we have a chat saying that, to be honest, if they serve that snack with a crisp pale lager in hell, it's not the worst place. Yeah. Yeah, I would book my vacation. It'd be really warm.
I also enjoy the contrast of like being in a hot place and eating cold food or beverage, or vice versa.
Hmm.
It's like I feel luxurious.
Yeah, I think that that wraps up our first Q&A though. Time flew by super fast.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It was good. Yeah, it was fun. Aha. Well, yeah, thank you to everyone who joined us for the live event, and for those of you watching the recordings, you can totally learn more about how to get in on the next live event by reading the description down there. You know the drill already. But yeah, so if you do have other questions for us, you know where to find us and to shoot them our way, because we're going to be doing more of these in the future. Yeah, that's cool. So thank you, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.